So in this video, I'm going to be discussing what I believe will be the next biggest move in cryptocurrency, the next biggest trend, if you will, and that's the tokenization of traditional financial assets and securities. But before I get into that, I just want to, send my condolences to those, if anyone's watching this video who was affected by the titanium scandal. I apologize, if you made an investment based on one of my videos. I never once, tried to sell titanium to anyone. I was simply asked to basically explain the technology by one of my subscribers, and I made a video on it explaining. In the video, I stated that, I wasn't going to leave a referral code. I wasn't doing it for monetary gain. I was just doing it because I enjoy studying the technology and explaining it. And, this is the course I'm doing in college, and I might have a little bit of, an in-depth knowledge, more so than someone else. So I just wanted to, help out. Unfortunately, the idea was great, but unfortunately the company was led by a shady CEO. I just want to say that after the hack, I lost all faith in the project and completely detached myself from it. I was in a Telegram group chat called Titanium Unchained, which is basically an unofficial, Titanium chat for people that got kicked from the official Telegram chat. And in there were some of the original developers who were working on this project, and they said that, there was some shady stuff going on. And after hearing that, I just completely dropped the project off my radar. I just want to leave it on this note. Don't fall in love with the project, fall in love with the money. So if at any moment you believe that the project, is going south, or, it's time to bail, just because you've been invested in it for 2 years, 3 years, don't, stick with the project all the way to the ground if it's, if it's crashing. If you believe that it's flawed, just get out of it, take your profits or whatever, minimize your risk. So yeah, I just wanted to clear the air with that. So let's get into this video. So we're going to be discussing the tokenizing of traditional securities and assets. Okay, so this is basically, a security. It could be, for example, a share in Apple. That could be a security. So basically putting digital ownership of these securities and other financial assets onto a blockchain. Okay, so I'll explain it here. So security tokens are digital tokens that represent ownership of an underlying asset or security. Okay, so examples in the real world are public equity, private equity, real estate, managed funds, exchange traded funds, bonds, and so on. Okay, so the next big trend in crypto is how these tokens will soon be issued on public networks like Ethereum or Bitcoin, okay, with inbuilt compliance features. Okay, so I'm going to discuss in detail what I mean by compliance features in a minute. So it's projected that these security tokens will dominate the majority of cryptocurrency market by 2025, okay, and in this video I'm just going to, I'm not shilling you anything. I'm not trying to shove investments down your throat. I'm just simply going to highlight 2 potential investments that I see will bring me in a profit in 2 to 3 years, okay? How to capitalize on this trend, basically. So if you want to stick around to the end of the video, I'll be discussing what those investments are. Okay, so but first you need to understand the importance of tokenizing securities, okay? So why should we do it? Okay, so like for the last, like, I don't know, 80, 90 years or whatever, everything has just been paper based. So now it's kind of, ownership is being moved to, digital blockchain, if you will. Okay, so unlike paper-based ownership, digital ownership can be programmed. Okay, useful for dividend payments, vesting periods, distributions, shareholder voting, and so on. Okay, so that's just increased efficiency, reduces costs. Okay, so these are tasks that teams of accountants, bankers, and lawyers would often be enforcing, and instead will be automated with code in the token itself. Okay, so that's a big point. Okay, so the security becomes a computer program that can interact with its shareholders and other organizations without middlemen. Okay, so as I said, significantly reducing the cost of governance and issuance. Okay, now next point. So here in this example, we're looking at private and public equity. So issuing equity will become as easy as clicking a button on the internet, basically. Okay, so you don't need all these third-party middlemen like lawyers, bankers, and what have you, and accountants. It's just going to be all pre-written, basically, in a smart contract, and will just be as simple as writing a line of code, and then that code will execute by itself and distribute the equity in this case. So as security tokens mature, software will enable securities to perform functions from as simple as paying dividends to more complex securities such as convertible debt or even credit default swaps. Okay, so this is, really exciting stuff basically. So where the terms of the contracts are hard coded into the token itself and is completely self-executing. Okay, so I mentioned that already. Now, this is a huge point. Regulators will also be able to will be able to mandate laws or standards inside the code of the tokens themselves. So security regulation will actually become proactive, eliminating the need for middlemen to enforce such regulations, okay? So it's actually in the benefit of regulators to get behind these tokenization of securities because, if the code is correct, everything carried out will be, regulated and within the law. So this is kind of what I was referring to back here when I said that you could set your own kind of parameters. So, in this case, regulation can be coded in the parameters of the token. So, okay, so next point. So tokenized public equity will be tradable 24/7 and instantly settled, okay? So, with NASDAQ at the moment, you can only trade within certain hours of the day. With everything on a blockchain, self-executing and instantly settled, you'll be able to trade 24/7, similarly like you can at the moment with Bitcoin, okay? Next point, trustless ownership. So ownership of tokenized securities is managed entirely by the blockchain. Okay, so again, reduces the need for all these accountants, bankers, and lawyers, okay, to oversee the issuing of these equities. So owners of securities will no longer need to trust third-party intermediaries, okay, so to hold custody of their assets for them, okay. So instead, it's going to be, all up to them online, basically. You can store these securities in whatever wallets they decide to store them in. Over the next 10 years, I see we're going to see a huge increase in cold storage and, better, safer, hot, warm storage, I suppose you could call it, online storage. There's going to be more security features as mass adoption happens. So assets can't be stolen even if their password is compromised, as the token itself is programmed so that it can only be transferred between specific people or entities. So this goes back to, the self-executing code and setting parameters within the code. So as you can see, these points are absolutely huge, and this is going to be the future of finance, basically. So fractional ownership, as you know, you can't own, half an Apple share. You can either just buy a full one or buy 2 or 3. You can't own half of one, but you can own, 1/1000th of a Bitcoin, or 1/100th of a Bitcoin, should I say, or whatever. You can own half a Bitcoin. You can't do that with traditional securities like shares and stuff. So fractional ownership will be possible by tokenizing these securities, okay? So security tokens are divisible, and a security can be split into multiple tokens. This means high-value single-unit investments, such as real estate or art, can be fractionalized, providing further liquidity from investors. So providing further liquidity basically just means, I mightn't have enough money to buy one full Apple share, Amazon share. I believe the Amazon share price at the moment is like $1,600. So, I mightn't have $1,600 for a full Amazon share, but, I might have $200 that I could put towards a share, so that's going to offer more liquidity. Okay, so, they're all the main points that I could think of, and that I found to be the most effective. If you think of any other advantages of tokenizing these traditional securities and assets, please leave them in the comment section. I'd love to hear them. We get a bit of a debate going, or a bit of a conversation started, should I say. Now, as promised, you might be looking at this saying, Jesus, this is definitely going to be something going forward in fintech. How do I make money from this? How do I capitalize on this? So there's 2 projects that I'm currently looking at, including in my portfolio, and that is Polymath. So it's a relatively new project, founded, its genesis point was back here in February, and it came onto the markets at around 70 cents and is now trading at like 46 cents. So let's look at the website. The future of securities, the future of Wall Street, okay? The future of finance. So it's enabling trillions of dollars of securities to migrate to the blockchain. So this is basically what I was saying a minute ago. They give some points here. That's actually another point here that I didn't include. So you can raise money in cryptocurrency. So by raising money in cryptocurrency, more people basically can get involved in investing. Like, look how much people have been opened up to investing because of Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff. It's literally opened the doors to like millions of people who previously would have had no knowledge of investing. Okay, so that's just another advantage of it. So this team basically has years experience in fintech. It's a very good team. I might do a full review on this in another video. I'm just conscious of how long this video is going to be, but you can go into this site yourself and have a look. Polymath is definitely paving the way forward. I believe it's like 88 at the moment on CoinMarketCap, and it was only founded in February. So when the market turns, this is definitely going to be something that's going to be leading the way, because it's just so innovative. Now, a second project that I'm interested in is tZERO. I believe this team have years experience in fintech and Wall Street. They've pioneered some really interesting things on Wall Street. From what I've been reading up on them, they really know their stuff. This is currently in its ICO, and they're doing everything to the book. So at the moment, unfortunately, only accredited investors, I believe, can take forth in this ICO. But when it's not even on CoinMarketCap, actually, when it's on CoinMarketCap, I'm going to be looking at jumping on this along with Polymath, because one of these platforms is going to be the standard for security tokens going forward. There may be other ones. The pie is huge. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar market. The pie is definitely big enough for more than one or two. So if you've an investment down this section of fintech, leave it in the comments. I believe there's another project called Templum. I believe I could be wrong though. So yeah, they're the two investments I'm looking at, capitalizing on this tokenizing of traditional securities trend. So if you found this video, informative or beneficial, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It boosts my video in YouTube's algorithm.